Caleb, there was a report, I guess you call it, from the Armenia website about Lucas being out 4 to 6 weeks. Is that accurate, or what can you update us on his status?
I don't know if it's accurate.
Okay.
We're hoping to have him back after the break, at the very least off the bench. That's the target. So I don't know how many weeks that is. That's more 3 weeks. So I would say more kind of 3 to 5 weeks.
Okay.
But it's not too far off.
Okay. And then obviously there were a few guys that left the game Saturday with injuries. Do you have updates on, I think it was Pedro, Yao, Artur?
Yep. Let's go through them. So Pedro has a grade 2 hamstring strain. Typically that's kind of 4 to 5 weeks, but with him he heals very quickly, so I think it's probably going to be less than that. He's another one we're hoping to have back after the break. Might be tight for that first game, but we don't expect to lose him for too many games. So I think with all these injuries, the break couldn't come at a better time. So maybe we lose these guys one game coming back in. We're hoping not, but I would think that would be the maximum. Other than Artur, who has a slight hairline fracture, so he's also right around that kind of 4 to 5 weeks. So I know when you say fracture, everybody gets worried, but it's a hairline, very hard kick. Fortunately, in the back of his leg, where there's a lot of meat to protect him, but he ended up getting a hairline fracture. Probably would have been a break on any other part of the leg. So yeah, all these guys are kind of right around like the 4 to 5 week range, which puts them, probably conservatively a week after we start back up.
And obviously you have depth at most of those positions. Pedro's the one that seems probably the most hairy. You put James in there, but I guess what did you think of the way he played, and then what would be other options if you need to go deeper with that position?
Yeah, I mean, James, that's a position he mostly played actually in Spain, so he's actually most comfortable with.
Oh, I meant, sorry, Sands. Will, my bad.
Oh, Will, sorry, okay.
My fault.
Left back.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Will obviously did really well at left back, so if Pedro's out, that would be the natural, obviously, decision to play him, especially with how he played.
And you give Miguel come off the bench, but you start
Eric.
Yeah, up top.
That's all right,
The battle between those two, you've mentioned kind of you're going to need a number 2 when you get somebody in here. How does a performance where you go out and get a goal from your striker kind of change things a little bit, maybe in your perception of things?
Yeah, I think current form and performance for me is everything, and guys that have earned it, get a leash, but then eventually that leash gets shorter and shorter, and that's ultimately why we played Eric, because we just felt like, in his minutes that he had gotten, he had shown pretty well. Obviously scored a goal in New England, and then in training was playing extremely well, and it obviously suited the game with the transition and how we wanted to play also in the match. So, I'm a big believer in rewarding guys for sure, for performing, and if guys aren't performing, why would you play a guy that's not performing? So the other guy that's coming on, I do have to mention is Jason Russell Rowe. Mm-hmm. We brought him into training today, had another very good day today. That's why we dressed him. So that wasn't just a charade, smoke and mirrors, let's just act like Crew 2 matters. We're really looking at those guys, and we have the ability to loan these guys up 4 times and play them twice out of the 4. So we know there's still 3-4 more games till we get a striker.
Right.
So, can he play a role? Can he push even, Miguel and Eric?
And when he does come up, or when any of those guys come up, but him specifically, and doesn't play, what experience does that get him? Maybe even just traveling, being with the guys. I mean, how valuable is that for a player? Yeah. When it may seem to the fans that, well, he came up but he didn't play. There's more to it than that, right?
Yeah, and we had planned to play him if we were down. So at the end of the day, it didn't make sense to
Right.
play him. But ultimately, we want to reward guys that are doing well with Crew 2. But also it gives them, like you said, an experience being close to first team, being a part of a game day, being part of a group. It's different, it's different. The pressure's different, the way we operate's different, so it's great for him to take that in and absorb it and be a sponge. And nice kid. He actually sent me a text the day after just thanking me for being a part of it. And we weren't planning to put him in, if we were going to be down. So I think he gained a lot more than he would have just not coming.
Right.
And again, we've got more. And I mean, frankly, at some point in time, if guys do well enough, we can just sign them.
Yeah.
So if we have guys that aren't performing, which you're always going to have, the bottom end of your roster, some guys that aren't playing really at all, you start to go, okay, maybe we need to make a move, because the top end of Crew 2 should be pushing the bottom end of my team if we're doing it right.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned the tactical element of playing Eric, but what does Miguel need to do? Obviously, scoring goals is the main thing, but what does he need to do to get back? Or is that just
he's got to score goals? He's got to score goals. It's that simple. He's got a long run, of games. We showed a lot of faith in him. We gave him a lot of, time, and just wasn't scoring goals. So he's got to score goals. He's a good kid. He still has, we feel potential. He's not young though.
Right.
I think people need to realize, I believe he's 25. So, this is where we got a Hurtado who's a little more experienced right now, who has a little more confidence right now. We have a Russell Rowe who is a lot younger, who's going to keep developing, who's playing well at a lower level. And it is a much lower level, Crew 2. And yet, he's, for me, to have a chance, you need to be dominating, and he's dominating right now. So that's why we brought him up. If you're gonna have a chance to play first team, you got to be dominating that league, and I think right now he's showing that. So does that mean he's good enough for us? Yeah, we're still evaluating that, but I think based on what I've seen, he's got a chance. Yeah.
Just in terms of, since we don't see much training, the battle between Miguel and Eric, what have you seen out of that? Maybe how have they, since Giassi's been gone, how have they kind of pushed each other, or is that how you've seen it play out on the training pitch?
Yeah, I think I kind of sense there's a little bit of pressure building on Miguel. That's natural and normal. He knows we have a guy coming. We move, obviously, Giassi to open up a spot for a guy coming. He knows he's going to basically get a run of games, and then it's not coming for him. And you could just tell that, he's feeling pressure. His confidence was a little bit down, and for me, as a striker, confidence is everything. You can't score a goal unless you're confident. So I think, with Eric, he was showing confidence. He was showing that he should be in, and that's what we want to see out of guys that aren't playing. And ultimately, we want a culture where the guys that aren't playing push to eventually play. And if you're happy not playing, or if you don't perform when you're not playing, then you're never going to get in. And we need guys that are breathing down the neck of the guys playing, and that's what Eric did. And ultimately, Eric won the job, and I think he showed well enough in the game to win the job again.
And just since we're on the topic, we've talked a lot about that you're going to bring a guy in. How is that process going in terms of finding the right guy? And I know you still have a month before anything can happen, but where are you guys in that?
Yeah, I think again it's important to know we were always going to be managing about 8-9 games until we got a guy, and I think ultimately we've gotten some points, and after 13 games we're slightly off where we want to be, but we're hanging in, which is real positive considering we've been playing without a designated player. We've been playing with 2 designated players, and in some cases 1 designated player. So for us to be hanging in and fighting and staying together and working and still slow dripping points, because we're just going to continue to trend up. Obviously, as we get a little more healthy, and as obviously we sign a designated player. I mean, you look at most teams, their highest paid player is their striker, and usually that's every team's top player. So right now we're kind of managing it, but when you think about the lift and the upward trajectory we're going to make when we add someone like that into our team, where goals are scored, where goals lead to wins and points, I think we have a strong foundation. It's just we need to continue to have a bit more quality in that front part of our team, and until then we're going to keep grinding. And I thought we showed that last game. We wasn't pretty. We didn't have a ton of the ball. We didn't create a ton of chances, but we made it ugly. We made it dirty. We defended well. We had a tough mentality. We did what we needed to win the game. And that's what we're going to keep doing, because we need to without a striker. We need to manufacture goals in different ways, transition, set pieces. It's difficult, without a top striker, to really break down teams in a low block, positional attacks. And I think you've seen that. Some of our best games this year, actually, analytics, we lost them. And those games, the analytics said we should have never lost. And where we fell short was the moment and the player in that moment. So we said, you know what? Let's forget about the analytics and let's just find ways to win until we get a striker that can consistently score goals. And in the meantime, we're going to keep riding the wave of confidence and form with the striker we have. And I think we got to start to think about Russell Rowe as a guy that's going to push even Miggy and Hurtado for sure.